All right, boys, it's your boy JB back with another video. This video is all focused on personnel and what personnel you should be using to run this spread option series. If you haven't already, check out our playlist where we've got the base runs, formations, and also gameplay video. This video is really focused on the different personnel and player archetypes that you should be using to run this particular scheme. So we're going to start with Oregon. Oregon probably has the best personnel to use for this example. Stick around for the end of the video and I'll give you a bunch of different teams that you can use if you're starting a dynasty with different prestige and tiers that you can use. If you're going to be running this scheme in Road to the College Football Playoff, you're really limited to 3 main teams, so you can use UCF, which you've seen in a couple of the videos. Florida State is probably the best team that you can use that have these schemes. And then North Carolina would be an option of last resort. They don't really have the best personnel for running it, but they do have all the plays that you could use. So starting out with the quarterback position, there are really 2 main archetypes and skill sets that I would be looking for a quarterback to run this scheme. The first is dual threat. So you're going to want a quarterback with speed, at least 83 or 84 as a minimum of speed. Ideally, you've got a faster guy, faster than 82 or 83, mostly because we're going to be running those speed options, the zone read, and we need to get around the edge. And those defensive ends can be a lot faster. So you're really going to be looking for a dual threat quarterback. Ideally one that's got option king and dot as skill set. You can see we're looking here at Dante Moore. He's got option king but not dot. That's okay. He's got a strong arm, as we can see, and also some abilities that really helps us out. The other quarterback that I would look to start in this offense would be the pure runner. So the pure runner has all of the same abilities, or most of the same abilities as our dual threat, except they get workhorse, so they're going to be immune from wear and tear, which if you're going to be running your quarterback a lot, you're probably going to take some wear and tear. They also get magician and option king, and so they're going to be ideal for running our triple option plays, our zone read, all of our option plays. We're going to want a pure runner for this. You can run this offense with a pocket passer, particularly if your pocket passer has, again, that minimum level of speed. So if you've got a pocket passer with 84 or 85 speed, you can run this offense. I would pair them with either a dual threat or a pure runner and just substitute them in, and we'll look at some packages where you can do that. But if you're going to run this offense with a pocket passer, I definitely combine your starting quarterback with a pure runner or a dual threat. Next is running back. Again, you're looking at 2 main archetypes. Your east-west playmaker, which is going to have a lot of your speed. So your fastest running backs, if you're in dynasty and recruiting, are going to be your east-west playmakers. I would also include an elusive bruiser. Unfortunately, there you go. Yep. Oregon's got 2 elusive bruiser. This is going to be more of your power back, but they also come with some speed. So you can have an elusive bruiser with 90 all the way up to 92 speed, but then they've got arm bar and stiff arm and some of the other power runs abilities that you're going to want for short yardage, that type of thing. So I'd probably sub in an elusive bruiser as my second back and then rotate them based on what I'm needing to do. Your east-west playmaker usually has better hands, so they're going to be able to catch those passes out of the backfield, your screens, and then your elusive bruiser is mainly for picking up short yardage or when you really need to run the ball and you can break tackles. Fullback isn't really a big part of the scheme, but wide receiver obviously is. So you've got a few options for wide receivers, and then you've got some must-haves for running this offense. So absolutely you need speed at the 2 outside wide receiver spots. As you can see here with Oregon, we've got Evan Stewart and Decorian Moore. And actually, I would put Malik Benson in this case, and then play Decorian Moore in the slot. So you're really going to want speed on the outside, mainly if you're running this scheme. What you're going to find is defenses will start pressing you or playing cover 2 and really giving you the deep ball. They want to give that up to stop your run game. So you're going to need speed on the outside. to be able to do that. And then going over to your slot wide receiver spot, I would really play, in this case, Decorian Moore in this position. So you're going to want an elusive route runner at your slot wide receiver. So while speed is important and there's a minimum that you want a guy with at least 91 or 92 speed to play in your slot. What's most important is going to be your agility, your acceleration, and your change of direction, and also your carry rate. And you can see this guy, Decorian Moore, has all of these abilities. That's mainly because he's going to be your target on a lot of your quick games, so a lot of your bubble screens, your jet sweeps, a lot of the quick hitting plays. Your slot receiver is going to be running that, and so you're going to want a guy who's got acceleration, who's going to catch the ball and go. That's honestly more important than the speed. You're not always or likely going to be putting your slot wide receiver, sending him deep. Your two outside slots, so your wide receiver 1 and your wide receiver 2, those are the guys who are really going to be getting deep the most. And then your slot wide receiver is more to work the underneath. They'll run a lot of drags and screens and type of thing. Tight end is going to be super important in this scheme, as you probably saw in both the gameplay video and our base runs. There is a tight end on the field in every one of our base formations. And in at least 2 of the formations, they're split out wide like a wide receiver. So you're going to want a tight end, ideally with speed, so over 80 speed at tight end. And if you can get a guy like this, 84 all the way up to 88 or 89 speed, that's even better. Then you can run all of your passing plays out of there to be able to do it. So a vertical threat is good at tight end. The physical route runner is good at tight end. They often have or can have takeoff ability, sure hands like this guy does. Super important for running, but they also will be your lead blocker for your end arounds. In some cases, you're going to be doing triple option with them. They're going to be in the backfield in some cases, so you want to make sure you have some speed at tight end. You also want to carry 2 tight ends, so it's super important that you also have a pure blocker that you can sub in. But you can see, like this guy, this is the perfect pure blocker. He's got outside shield, second level, and quick drop. So you could always sub this guy in at your tight end spots and then run your regular either run plays, or if you're going to be doing, say, an end around, a speed option with your quarterback or a zone read, it's helpful to have a tight end who can block a linebacker or block a safety. So I would pair my physical route runner or my vertical tight end with a pure blocker. And really use that to your advantage. So if we go here into coach adjustments, you can see under our spread by slot, if you go over on the right stick, that will open up your packages. So you can see I'm changing between the different packages. So one of the things you can do, as we were talking about earlier, is backup quarterback. So if you have a pocket passer or a dual threat who's not the fastest, or you just don't want your starting quarterback taking a lot of hits, if I'm going to run speed option or zone read, I'd probably sub in my backup quarterback. That is going to be a tell in some cases to the defense that you've got a new guy in. But I'd rather have a tell to my defense than have my starting quarterback take all of those hits. But if we keep scrolling through here, what you'll see is we can do a tight end sub. So we had 18, who was our physical route runner in there. And then if we go tight end sub, now this is going to sub in our pure blocker. And so again, if we're running speed option or zone read, I want to have my pure blocker on the field. He's going to do a better job of setting the edge. If we're running inside zone or a counter or something and we bounce it outside, it can be helpful to have a pure blocker out there tight end. If we go to our doubles formations, so our straight doubles, again, we can sub in our backup quarterback under the packages. So again, we're going over with the right stick. That opens up our package. So we can sub in our backup quarterback. We can sub in our backup running back. So again, if we're switching between our playmaker, our speed back, and our elusive bruiser or our contact seeker, we can get them on the field with formation or packages and then run for our short yardage. Again, if we scroll through here, you can see that we have the option to tight end sub and get our pure blocker on the field. And the same is true for our double offset week. We can bring in our backup quarterback, we can bring in our backup running back, or we can go over to tight end sub and bring in our blocking tight end. There is another wide receiver option that I would use, or you can use, particularly in Dynasty, and that is going to be the contested catch specialist. You can see this guy, it's Kyler Casper. This is an amazing contested catch specialist. He's got 90 speed, which you don't always see as a contested catch specialist. But what's super important about him, not only is he big, but you can see his strength is a 73 overall. Would have this guy on the outside, so one of your outside wide receivers, if they have enough speed. So if they've got 90 plus speed, or if you're doing Dynasty and you can level up their speed even higher, the contested catch specialist is another guy I would think about adding to the mix as my outside wide receiver. They can do a great job of blocking on those bubble screens, because there's nothing more frustrating than having a 2-on-1 outside, throwing your bubble screen, and your tight end blows the block. That's super frustrating, right? So you can sub through that too. So you could put, as you can see, you can put your tight end at wide receiver. So there's a tight end wide out in this doubles offset. It's the same thing in a lot of these formations. We can put our tight end at wide out, and then throw our bubble screens out there and go through it that way. One thing I left out when we were looking at the personnel is the offensive line. So the offensive line, of course, is super important for running this scheme. Now, Oregon doesn't have the exact match. If I were to pick and choose an exact offensive line, they've got a lot of pass protectors. What you're really going to be looking for are agile offensive linemen and well-rounded offensive linemen. Those make for the best offensive line archetypes for running this scheme. You can run it with raw strength guys, particularly if you're going to be running those halfback base or those traps and dives. The raw strength linemen can do a great job of doing that. For Dynasty, though, they don't always progress the fastest, so I tend to lean with the agile and the well-rounded guys. Pass blocking linemen aren't the best. Their run block grades are super low. So unless you're going to level those guys up, I'd probably steer away from the pass blocking linemen. Oregon is a team that has a lot of pass protectors, but they're so highly rated. These guys are 91 overall, that if we take a look at their blocking grades, they probably got really good blocking grades just because their offensive line is stacked to begin with. So if we go over here to run blocking, yeah, you can see we've got 84 run blocking, 81 and 87. You won't find that as much in other teams that you look at, but your elite offensive linemen can get that. As far as starting your dynasties already, of course, we've looked at Oregon for your tier 5 teams or your 5 prestige teams. Another team I would look at would be Clemson. So Clemson has Cade Klubnik at quarterback, but if you scroll down, you can see they also have this pure runner, Denson, with 90 speed. Another dual threat quarterback is really good. They've got running backs who are east-west playmakers, an elusive bruiser. It's really good. So you can see they've got 3 running backs with 90 plus speed. We go over to wide receiver. We've got speedsters across the board, but also an elusive route runner. As we said before, you can get those elusive route runners with 90 plus speed who also has 96 acceleration. This is going to be super for running this offense. Now, their tight ends aren't the fastest, but they do cross our 80 speed threshold that we've got. So for 5-star teams or high prestige teams, I'd look at Oregon or Clemson. For 4-star teams, I would look at Auburn. So Auburn's got Jackson Arnold and Ashton Daniels. So you've got your pocket passer, but he's paired with a backfield creator and a pure runner. So you've got what you need there. At running back, you've got Darrell Robinson and Cobb. So you've got your east-west playmakers and an elusive bruiser down here. At wide receiver, they've got speedsters, Singleton, Coleman, They've got some elusive route runners down here that you would need. And then at tight end, they've got a junior in Preston Howard who's got 81 speed. In addition to Florida State, who you've seen me use gameplay with, who's a good fit for this offense, you've got their rival school in Florida. So you've got DJ Lagway, who's a dual threat. He's got 88 speed, but they've also got another dual threat quarterback down here in Jones. They don't have the best speed at running back. You've got some lower rated guys with 90 and 91 speed, but they do have two elusive bruisers that are amazing to play with. So this Jordan Ball has one of the sickest stiff arms in the game. So I think about using him. And then they are absolutely loaded at wide receiver. They've got an elusive route runner, as you can see, with 94 speed, another speedster with 94 speed, and a couple other players that you could sub in. Again, you can see here Burrow Brown has two other abilities that are super helpful for this scheme. They've got sidestep, so their juke is really good. And then their 360 spin move is going to be great. The tight ends, starting tight ends aren't fast, but if we scroll down, you can see they've got Amir Jackson with 83 speed, and then another tight end, Costman, who again, you could either sub in, use formation subs, or just start them on your sets where your wide receivers are split out wide. For 3-star teams, I would start with Virginia Tech. For 3-star teams, I would start with Virginia Tech. So Virginia Tech has a big group of elusive quarterbacks. So you've got Drones here with 86 speed. You've got Brand, Rago. So you've got 4 options at quarterback, and all of them except for Drones are going to be underclassmen. At running back, they don't have a ton of speed, but they do have your elusive bruisers. And you've got a young East-West playmaker down here with 91 speed. I definitely put him in the lineup. At wide receiver, you've got a speedster in Green. You've got another speedster in Selden. And then you've got your elusive route runners down here and Holloway and Heath, who you can play in your slot. At tight end, your starting tight end isn't the fastest. He does have sure hands. If you really needed speed, you could sneak Harrison onto the field. And then you've got your pure blocker down here that you can sub in. Georgia Tech would be my next 3-star squad that I would use. You got Haynes King with 91 speed. You've got another King with 85 speed, and then the third quarterback with 84 speed. So this is a great group to start out with. You've got an upperclassman senior you can use, and then 2 freshmen. At running back, you've got Jamal Haynes, 92 speed, shifty, and 360, as well as sidestep. So he's going to be a great running back. You've got a couple of East-West playmakers down here, Alexander and Powell with 91 speed. They don't have, oh no, they do. They've got an elusive bruiser down here and Maddox that you can really use for your short yardage. At wide receiver, you've got speedsters and an elusive route runner in Rutherford with cutter and sidestep. And also down here, another young speedster who's a freshman with 94 speed. And then at tight end, you've got a pure blocker you can put in here as your second tight end. And then I would start Sether here as my starting or split out wide tight end with 83 speed. For your 2-star schools, I would start with Marshall. So Marshall has Zion Turner, who's got 87 speed. He also has Workhorse and Magician, which means he's going to be able to do a lot of the running for you, take your wear and tear. But then you've got a pure runner down here and Long that you can use. At running back, again, you're looking at 2-star schools, so you're not going to have a ton of speed, but you do have some 89 East-West playmakers in here. You've got an 88 East-West playmaker, and then wide receiver, again, not going to be the super fastest, but for a 2-star school, you've got enough speed to work with. So you've got a speedster in Norton, you've got your contested specialist so you can play on the outside, and then a couple of elusive route runners that you can use to run your offense, and then in a tight end in Payne, who's got sure hand, 79 speed, vertical threader in there, but then you also have your pure blocker who you can use. Our next 2-star school is San Diego State. So San Diego State has a backfield creator, but I would probably start this Emmanuel Jr. He's got shifty and magician. So you're going to be able to do a lot of things at quarterback with him. At running back, you've got an elusive bruiser, 2 elusive bruisers, 87, 89 speed, and then some East-West playmakers. They've got probably the fastest group of wide receivers for the 2-star schools. So you've got a 91 speed speedster, a 90 speed speedster, and then a 93 speed elusive route runner. So this avocado guy in the slot is going to be a demon to use. At tight end, you don't have quite the fastest guys that you'd want, but they can make do. So you've got 2 pure blockers, bunch of pure blockers, and then a vertical threat down here that you can put into the mix. The last 2-star school we're going to look at is Texas State. This was a popular team last year because of all the speed that they have. So they do have these 2 pocket passers. You can always start these guys, but then your second level quarterbacks have a dual threat here in Jackson with 83 speed and then Luster with 80 speed. So you can sub those guys in. At running back, you've got a 91 speed East-West playmaker in Burgess, an 87 speed. No elusive bruiser with this one. You'll have to recruit that if you're using it in Dynasty. But if you're doing play now or play a friend, you can of course use this team still. And then at wide receivers, you can see this is why most people played with this team last year. You've got route artists with 93 speed, an elusive route runner with 93 speed, and then you've got Anderson and Johnson, who are a speedster and elusive route runner respectively. And then at tight end, they've got this elusive route runner with 81 speed that you could pair with these physical route runners and a pure blocker. So those are the teams that have the personnel that I would use if I was starting a dynasty.